Me, gobbling up human beings, do you mind? This I'd never.
Hi everybody, how are you today? I'm going to read one of my favorite stories. I'm just going to read one short little chapter, and perhaps I will keep reading this every day. We'll see, but this is a book I read to my first graders called The BFG. And what I did with my class when I read it is I didn't show them any pictures, and every day someone would draw a picture of what I read. So I'm going to try and do that for you. And the first chapter is called The Witching Hour. Sophie couldn't sleep. A brilliant moonbeam was slanting through a gap in the curtains. It was shining right onto her pillow. The other children in the dormitory had been asleep for hours. Sophie closed her eyes and lay quite still. She tried very hard to doze off. It was no good. The moonbeam was like a silver blade slicing through the room on her face. The house was absolutely silent. No voices came up from downstairs. There were no footsteps on the floor above either. And the window behind the curtain was wide open, but nobody was walking on the pavement outside. No cars went by on the street. Not the tiniest sound could be heard anywhere. Sophie had never known such a silence. Perhaps, she told herself, this was what they called the witching hour. The witching hour, somebody had once whispered to her, was a special moment in the middle of the night when every child and every grown-up was in a deep sleep, and all the dark things came out from hiding and had the world to themselves. The moonbeam was brighter than ever on Sophie's pillow. She decided to get out of bed and close the gap in the curtains. You got punished if you were caught out of bed after lights out. Even if you said you had to go to the lavatory, that was not accepted as an excuse, and they punished you just the same. But there was no one about now. Sophie was sure of that. She reached out for her glasses that lay on the chair beside her bed. They had steel rims and very thick lenses, probably a little bit like mine, and she could hardly see a thing without them. She put them on, then she slipped out of bed and tiptoed over to the window. When she reached the curtains, Sophie hesitated. She longed to duck underneath them. Oh, and lean out of the window to see what the world looked like now that the witching hour was at hand. She listened again. Everywhere, it was so still. The longing to look out became so strong she couldn't resist it. Quickly, she ducked under the curtains and leaned out of the window. In the silvery moonlight, the village street she knew so well seemed completely different. The houses looked bent and crooked, like houses in a fairy tale. Everything was pale and ghostly and milky white. Across the road, she could see Mrs. Rance's shop where you bought buttons and wool and bits of elastic. It didn't look real. There was something dim and misty about that, too. Sophie allowed her eye to travel further and further and further down the street. Suddenly, she froze. Oh, there was something coming up the street on the opposite side. It was something black. It was something tall and black. Something very tall and very black and very thin. I'm going to stop there. That's the first chapter. And I drew a picture of Sophie. There's Sophie sleeping in her bed. See her glasses on the bed table next to her right there. And there's the moonlight coming in, shining on her face. This is before she went over and looked out the window. So tomorrow we're going to find out, what did Sophie see? Oh, I don't know. This next book is called Give Me Back My Dad. Give me back my dad. I wonder who took him. One day, Cheryl and her father decided to go ice fishing. They got on the snowmobile, put all their stuff in the sled on the back, and went bouncing over bumps and across lakes until they came to a very good place to fish. Wow, that looks like fun, doesn't it? Whew, that's winter. This place, said Cheryl's father, is the best place to fish in the whole world. But the fish are smart. You've got to be really smart to catch these fish. Phooey, said Cheryl. I'm smarter than any fish. So her father got out an ice drill and drilled an enormous hole. They chopped the ice and drilled some more, and then they were done. Wow, said Cheryl's father. Really thick ice. Now we can fish. I've never fished like that. He got out a hook and line and bait and said to Cheryl, you fish down this hole, but be very careful because these fish are smart. Phooey, said Cheryl, I'm smarter than any fish. She jigged her line up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and said, I want to catch a fish. Be patient, said her dad. So Cheryl jigged her line up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and said, I want to catch a fish. She's trying hard. Then up out of the hole came a candy bar with a line on it. Look at that, said Cheryl. It's a candy bar. Her father yelled, don't touch that. But Cheryl grabbed the candy bar and was pulled right down underneath the ice. Oh, dear. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen. Cheryl's father yelled down the hole, give me back my baby. A big fish stuck its head out of the water and said, we caught this kid fair and square. You can't have her back. Grrr, said Cheryl's father. Cheryl's father got an idea. He put a very small piece of bait on a line and jigged it up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. And all of a sudden he pulled up a very small baby fish. The big fish stuck its head out of the water and said, give me back my baby. Well, said Cheryl's father, I'll give you back your baby if you will give me back my baby. Grrr, said the big fish. Cheryl's father tossed the little fish back, and Cheryl came flying up out of the hole. She said, brrr, it's cold, and right away she started turning into an icicle. Her father picked her up and ran to shore and got a fire going in the Labrador tent. She was really, really cold. Look at that. Woo! Soon Cheryl was warm and dry like a piece of toast. Now, said her father, we are going back out there. And don't pick up anything the fish throw out of the hole. These are smart fish. Right, said Cheryl. They went back out and Cheryl jigged her line up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and said, I want to catch a fish. A candy bar with a line on it came up out of the hole. There she is, getting all warmed up before she goes to fish again. Oh, no, said Cheryl. I'm not that dumb. She jigged her line up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and said, I want to catch a fish. Up came a bag of popcorn with a line on it. Cheryl said, oh, no, I'm not that dumb. She jigged her line up and down and up and down and up and down and said, I want to catch a fish. Then up came a television. Wow, said Cheryl. That looks pretty nice, but I'm not that dumb. Look at that, a television came out of the ice hole. Whoa. Cheryl jigged her line up and down and up and down and up and down and said, I want to catch a fish. She waited some more and up came a $50,000 bill with a line on it. Her father said, $50,000? He grabbed it and got pulled underneath the ice. Whoa, $50,000. Grrr, said Cheryl. She yelled down the hole. Give me back my daddy! The baby fish stuck its head up out of the water and said, Hey, we caught him fair and square, and you can't have him back. What's she going to do? Cheryl got an idea. She put a huge piece of bait on the line and she jigged it up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and said, I've got to catch a daddy fish. All of a sudden, a big fish grabbed the bait and Cheryl pulled him in. The baby fish stuck its head out of the water and said, Give me back my daddy. Well, said Cheryl, I'll give you back your daddy if you give me back my daddy. Grrr, said the little fish. Cheryl threw the daddy fish back into the water, and Cheryl's father came flying up out of the hole. He said, Brrr, it's cold, and started turning into an icicle. Cheryl pulled her father to the tent and put wood into the stove till he was warm and dry like a piece of toast. Then Cheryl said, Daddy, why did you grab the money? I thought you were smarter than a fish. I am smarter than a fish, said her dad, and I know that you are smarter than any fish, and I knew you would get me out, and I still have the money. $50,000. Right, said Cheryl, and they went back to town and bought Cheryl her very own snowmobile. What a funny story. It wouldn't really happen like that, would it? But it's kind of fun to imagine that it could. And I'm going to read one more story for Nathan. It's called Let Me Finish. Nathan loves to read. So we're going to see what happens when he starts reading. Nothing like a quiet spot in a new book. Oh, I loved that book. Me too. Can you believe her best friend turns out to be a robot and that her hat was actually a time machine? Hey, I was just getting started and you've already ruined the ending. Next time, please let me finish my book. Now to find a peaceful spot where I won't be disturbed. So this little boy's trying to read in a quiet spot. Oh no, not again. What have we here? Yes, I've been waiting all year for this book. No one better spoil this one for me. Uh-oh. Here we go. I can't wait to dive in. He's a reader. Oh, I'm in the middle of that book too. That's my favorite part. Don't you love it when he reaches the top of the mountain? Oh no, they're spoiling his book again. No, not this time. This time I'm making it to the end. Just let me finish. I'm reading that too. I tore right through it. You'd never guess that the island is actually... He just can't get away from everybody. They've all read his book. I haven't gotten there yet. Please, please, let me finish. Great choice. What a page turner. Watch out for the dinosaur at the... La 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 la, I can't hear you. La 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 la. I'm begging you, please, let me finish my book. Oh, look at all the places and things. He's trying to get away so he can just read his book. He's climbing up here. Oh, he's holding his book above the water. Wow. You think he found some place where he can read his book? Finally, all alone. Oh, that must have felt so wonderful. Have you gotten to the dinosaur at the end of the book yet? You won't believe what just happened in this. No, let me finish. I still haven't gotten to the end. So I don't know if any of them ever got to read their whole book. But anyway, I thought that was a fun story, and I'm just going to say good night, and I love you. Mwah. Good night, everyone. Mwah. Can you throw me a kiss back? Whoop! I got it. Mwah. One more for you. Okay. Good night. I love you all. Bye.
Amen.